Hello, I am really pleased to introduce Brett Lee, who is the Chief Growth Officer at Obol Labs. He previously worked at Consensus and has been leading growth and marketing teams for over 14 years. So I'm excited to hear what you have to share with us.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Really happy to be here. Excited to share today and hopefully give you guys some alpha for opportunities to solo stake. Just out of curiosity, quick show of hands, how many of you have either run a node or solo staked before? Decent amount. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. So where I wanted to start is to talk about why solo staking is so important to the Ethereum ecosystem. In many ways, solo staking is the heartbeat of Ethereum. And if you go on the Ethereum Foundation website today, you'll see that they say solo staking is the best staking option for securing Ethereum. And in many ways, this is true. It contributes to decentralization, to resiliency of the network. And while the professional validators play an important role in this space to give more opportunities for people to stake, I think everybody would agree that solo staking is still vital to the long-term health of the Ethereum network. With that said, today, solo staking is still a really small fraction of the overall stake being secured by the network today. There's estimations of anywhere between 1% and 6% of stake is being run by solo stakers, with the rest being delegated to liquid staking, to centralized exchanges, to staking pools. And so you must wonder why. If solo staking is so important to the Ethereum ecosystem, why there isn't a higher percentage of solo stakers? Well, that's because there's actually a lot of challenges to solo staking today. First, we're in the midst of what I would dare say the next bull market. I think we're all quite excited about what's going on this week. But the downside of this is that you now require more than 100K. I think the accurate count is 115K USD in order to run a validator. That's the equivalent price of 32 ETH, which is the bonding requirement. And that's not a very accessible financial amount for many people in the world. Second, it's actually pretty hard. You need to be able to run command lines. You need to have some DevOps experience. You need to know how to provision a machine that is sizable enough to be able to handle a node. So there's a lot of barriers to getting people started to begin with. And then it's even harder to do well. As you're validating, keeping your nodes up is not always easy. Troubleshooting issues that arise, not always easy. And so for many, it's just much easier to go ahead and delegate your stake to a professional validator to be run. So how do we address these challenges with solo staking today? And what I'd like to introduce to you guys today is a new term. Well, I guess it's not really that new anymore, but this idea of squad staking. This term originated from Anthony Sassano and in a conversation with the Bankless team about a year ago, it was last April. And Anthony Sassano was participating in Obol's early alpha mainnet launch, running a DV cluster on mainnet. And he introduced distributed validators as this idea of squad staking, essentially running a node with a group of people together. So what does that mean? So let me first introduce you to distributed validators, which is the technology that enables squad staking. It's actually pretty easy to understand. It's essentially the concept of taking a single validator and running it across multiple machines, where each machine is running a partial key share. And you have to have at least 66% of the nodes up and running in order for that validator to be online. But with that simple concept, there's actually a lot of benefits, and it provides a ton of opportunities for solo stakers. What are those? First, well, it reduces the ETH requirement for each operator. You can imagine that I no longer myself need the full 32 ETH bond. I can have 4 people with 8 ETH each, have 7 people with whatever that math is, less ETH each, and 10 people with 3.2 ETH each, all pulling that together and running a validator. Secondly, it greatly increases the fault tolerance of the validator. So as I mentioned, you only need 66% of those nodes to be up and running in order for that validator to be up and running, which is very different from what it is today, where a single validator is a single machine or a single node. If that machine is down, that entire validator is offline. And so it's much easier now for solo stakers to maintain really high quality validators because you have that inherent fault tolerance built directly into the validator itself. Third, there's a natural team camaraderie to this. You're now sharing with a group of 3 others, 6 others, 9 others, the responsibility of running a validator. You can support each other, you can learn from each other, you can have expert validators now running with more new or novice validators, all for the good of having more solo stakers in the Ethereum network. And finally, I think it's really important to understand that this also greatly reduces Byzantine risk. So what is that? Well, today, every validator has a full private key. If that is a bad actor, or if I want to trust my stake with somebody else and they have my full validator private key, what's preventing them from taking that private key and running away with my ETH? There's not that much protection. And so with squad staking now, no individual in that cluster ever has the full private key. And so it's much easier for a third party to trust their stake with a community cluster because you increase that Byzantine fault tolerance. And what this has introduced is the idea of home staking. So what is that? It's essentially you as a solo, what previously was a solo staker, being able to run a validator in your home, but have third-party ETH flowing into you because there's increased trust properties to that community cluster. And this opens up a ton of opportunities for solo stakers because you no longer have to have, in some cases, any ETH to start to run validators for the Ethereum network. So what that translates to now are opportunities in this year for solo and home stakers to be able to participate in securing the consensus layer of the Ethereum network. And I'd like to share some of those opportunities to give you a little bit of alpha as to what those are. First, we're seeing a lot of organically created community squad staking clusters in the world today. So currently at Obol, we're in our mainnet open beta release, which means anybody can go ahead and run a cluster, DV cluster with Obol, up to 1 validator. And in some cases, we can increase that limit. So what that has led to is organically created community clusters, some started by SuperFizz, now starting to see others, basically organize themselves through Twitter, through other means, getting a group of 10 people together and starting their own cluster, pooling their ETH, and starting to run a community validator. There's a lot of now KOLs, influencers, height net worth, and other individuals in the community starting to take interest in running squad staking clusters. Second, we're also starting to see this permeate to Web3 core teams. Though there's a lot of development and exciting new innovations happening in Ethereum and the Ethereum network today, not many people are actually participating in securing the base layer of Ethereum, which is the consensus layer. And so recently, Aragon, they actually reached out to us to start this idea of team staking, which is getting more Web3 core teams to squad stake within their teams. And not only are they participating now in securing the network, they're learning some of the foundations of what makes the Ethereum network strong and adding and contributing to the overall ethos of the network. So if there's any Web3 core teams here, this is a call out that if you're interested in team staking, please reach out to us and we'll be able to help you. Third, as I mentioned with home staking, there are now more and more liquid staking protocols looking to decentralize their node operator set. And because of the Byzantine properties now of DVT, they can trust community clusters with allocation of their stake. The first example of this is EtherFi. And we launched Operation Solo Staker actually about 6 months ago, if not more. And it's essentially the opportunity for solo stakers to become node operators for the EtherFi network. Currently, this program has solo stakers in 35 countries across 6 different continents. And we actually had the first distributed validator set up using Starlink in Kenya. And so some of the fault tolerance properties of squad staking is enabling people to start staking from and running validators from parts of the world that never used to have this opportunity because of poor internet, because of the cost of a machine, et cetera. And there's no bonding requirements here. Because of the, again, increased fault tolerance of visiting properties. As long as you are experienced in running a node, you can join EtherFi as a node operator without any bond today. Second, or sorry, last but not least, is Lido Simple DVT. So for those of you that are familiar with Lido, Lido recently launched their V2. Where they're introducing new modules with different setups for operators. The first additional module in Lido V2 that's going on mainnet here in a few weeks is called Simple DVT, which is a community-oriented module where there's smaller solo stakers, home stakers, participating in as a node operator for the Lido network. This was approved by the Lido DAO to proceed to mainnet, and this will introduce 139 new operators to Lido, which about 4x's their existing operator set. This is the first time that community validators are being added to the Lido network. We're going to start with about 0.5% of stake, of overall Lido stake, and grow to 2% and more over time. So this is also open to any solo/community validators that have experience running validators or running distributed validators today. Again, there is no bond requirement to this, and we are actively, together with Lido, looking for participants in the next phase of the testnet, which would then qualify you to go to mainnet in future phases. So these four examples are all exciting opportunities for any solo staker who wants to start running validators, an opportunity to do so, whether you have ETH and you want to stake your own ETH, or whether you don't have any ETH that you would want to stake yourself, but you want to earn opportunities for these liquid staking protocols to be able to run node operators for. So the last question I think some of you may be asking, those of you that are already experienced as well, this also applies to you, by the way, is how do I get started? You know, if I want to earn these opportunities, if I don't feel experienced or comfortable enough running a validator myself, how do I actually get started? What we've introduced is the Obol Techne Credential. And this is solving a really important gap in the market today, where solo stakers, it's very difficult to showcase or to prove their experience. You basically have to take them at their word. And so for many liquid staking protocols and those looking to allocate stake to community clusters or solo stakers, it's hard to trust solo stakers today. And so this Techne Credential is actually something we've introduced to try to bridge that gap. So what is it? First, it's an opportunity to learn and gain experience running DBs. There is a large community that we've run and support structure in place to educate people who are interested in running validators and running distributed validators to start to do that. Second, once you are able to run a distributed validator, you will earn a soulbound token that proves your experience running a DV. And so that is an attestation that you have this experience, and that is on-chain and provable. In order to earn this credential, you also have to hit certain requirements around uptime, effectiveness, et cetera, that not only shows that you can run a DV, but you can run a validator well. And what are we going to do with this? Well, this is being socialized with Lido, with EtherFi, with other liquid staking protocols that are looking for community node operators. And this is a way for you to prove that you have experience running a high-quality validator that would earn you opportunities into these various community staking modules. Finally, this is an opportunity for you to join the over 34,000 people within our Obol community. And basically start to learn and network with other operators in this space. And we are putting a lot of support and resources into making this credential successful and something that becomes recognized in the industry to provide more opportunities for solo stakers to start running validators on mainnet. So just to close off, this is a call to action for all of you. I think squad staking is an opportunity now for everybody those that want to, are thinking about, are interested in running your own nodes to be able to start doing so. And in turn, what you are doing is helping to decentralize the overall Ethereum network, to make it more resilient, and to further the ethos of Ethereum. And so I encourage everybody to start looking into this. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them afterwards. Thank you all.